So, welcome everyone to session 16 of season 7 of Mindful Self-Discipline. My name is Giovanni Dinsman. I am a meditation teacher, author, and self-discipline coach. And every week, same day, same time, I run these classes on mindful self-discipline. They're all based on the book and website of the same title. And you can consider this a study group for the book. Now, if you don't have the book, don't worry. Everything you need to understand this class will be presented in the class itself. But if you want to go deeper, if you want to see the examples, if you want to do the exercises, then you can get the book or the audiobook. And today, for those of you who have it, we are covering chapter 31 on Never Zero. It's all about determination and commitment. So I'm broadcasting this class live on the Insight Timer app and on my YouTube channel. Wherever you're watching this from, welcome. Welcome Livy, Megan, Roseanne, Lotus, Tracy, Peace, Rachel, Loretta, Amy, Lisa, Ines, and everyone else who is here. So this is the final class of the action pillar. Now, what I teach, mindful self-discipline, is a different approach to self-discipline. Self-discipline is not the type of thing that most people get excited about or think that they want more of. It sounds like a good idea, but it sounds painful for most people. And it's all because we have a wrong view about what is self-discipline. Self-discipline is not inflexibility. Self-discipline is power. It's your ability to master yourself and master your life. That you become a creator, that you become the architect of your destiny, the designer of your own identity and personality, that you have the power to make things happen. Self-discipline is not self-punishment, it is self-respect. It is your ability to live in harmony with your values, day in and day out. And when you do that, there's a sense of fulfillment. When you don't do that, there's a sense of regret. So the more you keep your promises to yourself, the more you like yourself, the more you experience self-confidence and self-esteem. What is the channel name? It is my name. So let me just put the channel here. So this is what self-discipline is really about. It is the key concept behind all other concepts in personal growth. Because it's that one thing that if you don't have it, you cannot apply the concepts of any other book, of any other system, of any other teacher, because they are all going to tell you to do something. They are all going to ask you to make a change, to shift your mindset, to do this practice, to do that breath work, to do things differently. And unless you have that self-discipline to stay consistent with it, you are not going to experience that change. So whatever goal you have in any area of your life, be it career growth, finances, relationship, health, spirituality, personal growth, you will need self-discipline to achieve those goals. That's how important it is. Now, self-discipline has two elements, awareness and willpower. The way that self-discipline is being taught by most people is very much a willpower-only approach. It's all about mental toughness. I call it military self-discipline. You're beating yourself up. And that's not for everybody. It takes a lot of energy. The way I teach is awareness first, then willpower. That when you start with awareness, most so-called self-control conflicts in your life can already be solved only by awareness. By being fully present, aware of your values and aspirations in that moment, having that space inside yourself between you and your thoughts, then you can make the choice that is aligned to your values. And when not, then you need to apply some willpower. But applying willpower will feel more natural, more aligned, something that you actually want to do rather than you're forcing yourself to do. The class of today on Never Zero, it is very much on willpower. It is emphasizing willpower, but in a mindful way. So mindful self-discipline has 3 pillars: aspiration, awareness, and action. And we had 4 classes on each of these pillars. In the book is about 80 to 90 pages. Now the summary is that aspiration pillar is to know your purpose. Awareness is to remember your purpose. And action is to live your purpose. And I'm gonna do a bit of a longer summary here in a moment. So for the class of today, we're talking about Never Zero. Never Zero is a different way to think about habits. Most people are trying to build so many habits at the same time, but there's not much energy behind that intention. It's like, okay, I've tried and failed so many times. I've read books about habits and still doesn't work. The energy behind it is not right. The intensity, the intention, the commitment behind it is not there. And that's what we're talking about today, that when you have that type of commitment, and this ties in with what we talked about last week of remove your options. Were you guys here last week? Did you hear me talk about the remove your options technique? That when you remove all your options, when you have no plan B, when there are no exceptions, then you succeed, no matter what. And that's what Never Zero is about. It's a similar concept, but it's applying in a very small way. It's more doable in a way. I thought Never Zero or Get Off Zero is a call to buy Bitcoin. I have no idea what that is about. Yes, chapter 31 of the book. So, can you please share in the comments what is one habit that is very important for you to build and you haven't succeeded at building yet? Maybe you want to do it every day and you end up doing 3-4 times a week, always at different times, and it's always kind of a struggle to fit it in. What is one important habit in your life that you want to make sure you do every day, but you haven't been able to make that happen yet? Please let me know in the comments, and we can use these as examples for the content that will unfold. Writing, meditation, cleaning and decluttering home, consistent bedtime. That's what I've seen many people struggle with. Qigong daily. Yeah, I love Qigong. Qigong is wonderful. Write out a tight calendar for the week and follow progress daily. Stay on top of paperwork and emails. Learn day trading. Exercise. It's interesting, many traders are coming to me for self-discipline. I think there's a quote from Warren Buffett that we don't need to be smarter than the rest, we just need to be more disciplined than the rest. So people in this field are well aware of the importance of self-discipline. Consistent meal times, editing manuscript, exercise. Okay, wonderful. Thank you for sharing. So the content of today's class is not long, which means that I have some time now to begin with a summary of the aspiration and awareness pillars. And if you have questions throughout the class today about any aspect of self-discipline, purpose, focus, meditation, etc., then make use. I'm here. Okay, eating mindfully. I love your summaries. Wonderful. Are you reading them from the website or from my app? App. The summaries that I do here. Okay, got it. Do you have a chapter on time management? Yes, chapter 33. The next 2 weeks we are going to cover that. And at the end of this series in October, I have a class where I go through how we actually manage tasks so that we stay on top of things without feeling overwhelmed. All right, so let me begin by doing a quick summary. The aspiration pillar has 7 steps. The first 4 are the internal work, or the setup, of the aspiration pillar. The last 3 are the internal work. So let's go through them one by one briefly. Step number 1 is to find your purpose. And we talked about 5 different exercises that can help you discover or become aware of what are your core values, those things in life that are most important for you, and to create aspirations around them. These first 4 exercises you will find in the book and in the free workbook that you can download in the resources page. And this 5th one here is a guided meditation called Deep Longing that you'll only find in the Mindful Self-Discipline app. Second step, magnify your purpose. Okay, it's not enough to just know what it is. It needs to feel strong. You need to have a strong emotional connection with your purpose. That's where motivation, drive, focus, and commitment comes from. So we talked about an exercise of embracing pain and pleasure as sources of motivation. I call it the black and white exercise. Again, it's there in the free workbook. And how to imprint in our subconscious mind that desire, that goal, that focus so deeply so that it's magnetizing our life in a certain direction. And this is done through Yoga Nidra. I have created a special Yoga Nidra meditation for this purpose, and it's also there in my app. Third step is to specify your purpose, and that means to create SMART goals for your purpose. The goals are short-term projects. They are beginning, a middle, and an end. They may take a week, or they may take 6 months, but they're not going to take 6 years. If it takes 6 years, it's not really a SMART goal. It needs to be broken down further. Perhaps it's an aspiration if it's going to take that long. So we need to write down our goals and become aware both of the goal and the process. Both goal and process are important. Now, step number 4 is to prioritize your purpose. To prioritize your purpose. And we do that by making sure we have the triple commitment. We commit our time, our money, and our energy to what is most important. These 3 resources are the 3 core resources we have in our life. And so if we are not dedicating our core resources to the things that are most important for us, then we are not going to be happy with our lives. Not in the future and not in the present. We may not be in touch with that feeling because we are distracted by busyness, by information, by technology, by entertainment. But it's there, and sooner or later we're going to have to face that. If you want your aspirations to become real in the future, you need to make them real in the present, in your present. And you do this by making sure you're committing your time, money, and energy to the things that are most important in your life, to your aspirations. So this is the setup of self-discipline, of the aspiration pillar. And then we have the internal elements that we need to learn how to resolve self-sabotage. Self-sabotage happens when part of us wants our goal, our conscious mind wants it, it sounds like a good idea, but our subconscious mind is afraid. Our subconscious mind is afraid of the goal. And so it's holding us back. It's like we're trying to move forward with the handbrake on. It's going to take a lot of energy and we're probably not going to go very far. That fear could be many different things. It could be fear of failure and the pain, the loss that you imagine you will feel. It could be fear of success and how you feel that would change your life. Perhaps not. Perhaps in some uncertain ways. It could be fear of the journey, that would be difficult, it will require some sacrifice. It could be fear of what other people are going to think of you and say of you. Fear can take many forms. But if there's a part of you who is afraid of this goal, of this aspiration, that part of you is not on board. That part of you will create trouble. Part of your energy is locked in that part. There is no integrity, because integrity means to be one, and you are divided. So that's an important work to be done as part of the aspiration pillar. Cultivating your mindset, we talked about 2 important virtues for self-discipline. The first is ownership, which is taking full responsibility for your life. That yes, other people have done things that were unfair. That yes, I am also impacted by the weather and the pandemic and the economy and AI and whatever's happening in the world. Everything can affect you, but you can take control of your well-being, of your choices, of your life. And when you are living inside out, which is a concept that I touch upon from time to time and I explain in the blog, if you're living inside out, you know that the most important thing is your values and your decisions. You're cultivating your willpower, that you can be the strongest element, not the external things that you have no control over. And then to believe in yourself. To believe that whatever obstacle comes your way, you can overcome it. You have the capacity to figure things out. Any challenge, any obstacle. That is self-belief. It's not thinking that things are going to be a piece of cake and that you are above everything. No. It is knowing that I'm not going to underestimate the journey. Some pretty difficult things may come, but I believe in myself and I choose to believe in myself. I'm going to be on my own side no matter what. Self-belief, self-confidence. And finally, make your offering. Are you willing to make sacrifices for what you want? If you're not, then probably you don't really want it. Are you willing to sacrifice some of your time to let go of some comfort and instant gratification for your long-term goals? Are you willing to let go of some limiting beliefs, of your old identity? Because your old identity took you to the old places. You need a new identity to take you to a new place. You cannot get to the new place by being the old self. And that is the real purpose of self-discipline. It's not to improve your health and make you earn more money and get you to the next step in your career and build habits. All of these are important and all of these will happen. But the real value of self-discipline is that it puts you in a journey of self-transformation. That in order for you to achieve what you want to achieve, and that's just a carrot to help you move forward. In order for you to achieve that, you need to become a different person. You need to become the better version of yourself. You need to cultivate virtues and qualities that are important but you don't have yet. And now you have a reason to develop them because you want that carrot. And that's good. One day that carrot is no longer going to be relevant or important for you. But the growth that happens through the journey, that will always matter. Have a look at the comments here. Swimming. Happy to be here. Wonderful, Liz. Yeah, alignment with core values is important. Okay, wonderful. So that is the aspiration pillar. And then the awareness pillar. Awareness in mindful self-discipline is about 2 things. It's about remembrance first, to keep in mind. That's the meaning of mindfulness, to keep something in mind. In the Pali canon of Buddhism, sati, to remember, to keep in mind. What to keep in mind? Well, to keep your aspirations in mind, to keep your goals and values in mind. Because if your goals and values are in your mind, you can take action on them. If they are not in your mind, you will not. So keeping them in mind is important. That is awareness. Maintain constant awareness of the most important things for you. And the second element of awareness is space. That the moment you train the skill of awareness through meditation and the other tools that we cover in this pillar, you develop some space, some pause between you and your thoughts, between you and your emotions, your triggers, your memories, your impulses. And this space is the space of your freedom. Because your thoughts may be telling you to go left. Your limiting beliefs may be telling you to go left. Your emotional triggers may be telling you to go left. But if your values in that moment point right, then you go right. And that's only possible if you have trained your awareness and willpower through meditation, self-discipline, etc. Then you have that freedom. Then you have some space to choose something else. Because the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions are not occupying the whole screen of consciousness anymore. Now they are smaller. There is space for you to do something different. If this space doesn't exist, then you are just living out your conditioning. And when you're living out your conditioning, the future tends to be a repetition of the past, with some minor variations. So this is the dual aspect of awareness for mindful self-discipline. Mindfulness and space, or we can call it witnessing. Witnessing is a word that they use in the yoga tradition, in Sanskrit, also in Vedanta. Witnessing, Sakshin Bhava, for those of you who want the Sanskrit. That you are witnessing your thoughts, you are not your thoughts. You're not inside the thought, you are aware of your thought. Therefore, you're bigger than your thought. Therefore, you don't need to believe your thoughts. Maybe that's making some sense for some of you, but if it's not a lived experience, it's a concept. And still useful, because little by little is maturing in you. If you do the practices, if you keep on thinking and applying and reflecting, little by little it will mature in you. So very briefly, the awareness pillar, we talk about 3 core practices of meditation, integration, and reflection. Meditation is something that we do every morning. It's important to do it daily. And it's also important to find the right technique for you. I have a course here on Insight Timer called Finding the Best Style of Meditation for You. If you're struggling with finding a style that works for your needs, this is a good start. This course is a good start. And it's also there for those of you who are members of my app. Integration is the PAW method. Throughout the day, whenever you're facing an obstacle, you apply the PAW method. You pause, especially through breathing. You become aware of what are your options. What is a +1 here? What is a -1? What is driving me to do that thing that is not good for me? What emotions, what stories am I telling myself? Become aware of all of this. And then willpower. You apply one of the 20 willpower techniques in the book. Here are just the three of the main ones. To overcome that challenge and live aligned with your values, with the vision you have for yourself. Finally, reflection. Reflection, the most important part of reflection in terms of a habit is journaling. That's something we do every night. It's 3 questions that we ask ourselves every night. It's also there in the app. Tracking could be habit tracking, other forms of tracking that prompt you to reflect upon yourself and understand how you are performing and where you can improve. And deep conversations is if you have a chance to work with a coach or therapist or anyone who has the wisdom and experience, ability to be a mirror for you that can help you see your blind spots. Now, the action pillar is about 3 things. First is having an action plan for your aspiration, that these are the goals I need to achieve in this journey. and that these are the milestones for these goals. And here is the most important habit I need to build right now for the goal that I'm working on right now. Then the second aspect of the action pillar is that we have seen how to actually build habits. The cue, action, and reward triad. And then we talked about dealing with obstacles to taking action. How do we overcome procrastination, self-doubt, and failure? All of this we have covered. And now we are in the final chapter of the third pillar, Never Zero. Never Zero is about determination. And determination, in a way, is the substance, the essence of self-discipline. Now, there are not going to be any slides today, but everything that I am talking about today is in the resources page. Let me make sure that it's already live. In the resources page, you can also download the free workbook and some screenshots that you can use as wallpaper images for your phone for reminders what this is really about. Yes, it's already there in the resources page. Okay, let me see if there are any questions. "732 straight days, wonderful. Giovanni, I struggle with even taking baby steps. Taking action still feels painful for some reason." Now, that's interesting. If even baby steps are painful, then two things come to mind. One is that perhaps those baby steps are not small enough. Maybe you can break them down even further. If I know what is the actual goal in the baby steps, I'll be able to say if that is the approach or not. The second thing is, if you can't get yourself to take action, even when the action is easy, then maybe there is someone to make progress in that path. And if that's the case, no amount of baby step will help. You need to become aware of that and solve that knot inside yourself. Get the whole of you on board. The course is, I think the title is Finding the Best Style of Meditation for You. If you go to my Insight Timer profile page by searching for my name, Giovanni Dinstmann, you will see all my courses there. And you also see a link in the bio that takes you to the resources page. Now, Alberto Rios asks on YouTube, what about limitations to our aspirations? So what are those limitations? Are they objective limitations or are they subjective limitations? We are always going to meet obstacles, limitations, depending on how connected we are with our aspiration, how aware we are that this is really important for me, that this matters. If we are willing to pay the price in terms of effort, etc., then we can overcome those limitations. Now, some cases, no, right? If you have a physical disability or it's like something's just like impossible, then it's impossible. Then you need to reframe that aspiration in a way that is possible. But otherwise, it's very normal to meet obstacles and limitations, and we need to outgrow them. That then becomes the focus of the work. I'm having lots of inner critic come up and trying to figure out how to deal with the negative voice who self-sabotages. Yeah, okay. So that seems to be the thing itself. The wallpapers and diagrams are free? Yes, they are free. I have trouble moving from one task to another. I wind up stuck after the first tasks. Baby steps can help. but also it's about determination, that you make a strong decision. Many of the troubles, many of the challenges with self-discipline, they are solved by determination. Now, determination is not the easiest thing to cultivate, which is why it's more toward the end of the book. But it's the type of thing that, to the extent we can cultivate it, we don't need other techniques so much, because that becomes the solution. All right, let's get into Never Zero. So, Never Zero is a commitment. It's called the Never Zero commitment. And commitment is different from motivation. They're both important. The chapter on MSD, I think is chapter 8, where we're talking about magnify your purpose. That's all about motivation. There are exercises there to feel more motivated in your journey. So motivation is important, and it's something that needs to be cultivated. But motivation is not reliable. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings come and go. That is the nature of all feelings. If you want to be consistent with your habit, with your goals, you need to rely on something that does not come and go, something that does not fluctuate. And that thing is commitment. Commitment doesn't ask, how are you feeling today? Do you feel like doing this thing or not? Do you have enough time? Do you have enough energy, or are you feeling tired or busy? No, commitment doesn't want to know any of that. I have already made the decision to do it. That is commitment. It's our ability to act regardless of motivation, to take a step forward in the direction of our goals every day, whether we feel like it or not, whether it is easy or not, whether it makes us comfortable or uncomfortable. It means that we don't expect that motivation will precede action. Motivation often comes after action. We take action, we get some momentum, we're moving, we are getting some success, then we feel motivated. I can do this. This is important. This can happen. So our motivation is something that fluctuates, and it will always fluctuate. It comes and goes, depending on how much you have slept, on the conversation you had with your significant other yesterday night, the weather, what you ate today. All of this impacts your energy levels, your biology, your psychology, and therefore your motivation. But commitment is different. Commitment is more stable. Commitment is something that grows over time. And with it, the energy to take action grows over time. I started doing meditation 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week. That was my commitment back in the year 2000 when I started more regularly. Now I'm doing 3 hours. And I'm not saying that you should do 3 hours, but little by little it increased that commitment. Did I always felt like meditating? No. Did I always enjoy my meditation? No. Over time, I tend to enjoy it more consistently. I tend to get to deep states more consistently. But that comes because it's a renewed commitment and intention. So it's important to understand that these are the two elements, motivation and commitment. They are both important. They both need to be cultivated. But you cannot, for habits, you cannot rely on motivation. Motivation is that initial spark. And if that spark remains a spark, then you've got nothing. But if you can turn that spark into a fire by constantly fanning, by putting the fuel, the wood, whatever you need, then you can create something out of it. If you depend only on motivation, you're like the sailor who only moves forward when the wind is on his back or on her back. While a skilled sailor can move forward regardless of the wind direction. Even when the wind is against, can still move forward. So when there is commitment, when there is direction, when there is a vision, and we're committed to that vision, then we can move forward regardless of circumstances. And that's where the concept of never zero comes in. Maybe you have tried to build one of these habits that you guys mentioned here, of writing, of exercising, of meditation, of going to bed on time, and you have been struggling with it. One way to overcome this is to do a never zero commitment. A never zero commitment is a commitment that is small, timely, and uncompromising. The essence of it is that it's uncompromising. Uncompromising means no exceptions, non-negotiable. There is no end to exceptions. If you are open for exceptions, there is no end to exceptions, but if you commit fully, it will get done. Depending on the strength of your commitment, ideas for exceptions will not even come. Because, I've decided it's not 99%, it's 100%. And 100% is easier than 99%. Because when it's 99%, every day, part of you is wondering if today is one of those days, one of those exception days. If today it was busy enough or tired enough or demotivated enough for me to make an exception. Part of your energy is already engaged in coming up with excuses. While if your commitment is 100%, it's easier. That whole inner conversation doesn't happen. Your energy can only move forward, and so your whole energy moves forward. It's like the remove your options technique that we talked about last week when we were covering self-doubt. So some examples of never zero commitments. I will meditate for at least 5 minutes every day, no matter what. For the next 100 days, I will write for an hour from 6 to 7 a.m. Until the end of this year, I won't go to sleep without showing appreciation to my partner. I will study 20 minutes of Spanish every day until my trip to Spain. I will not drink beer or eat sweets until the day after my marathon. These are examples of never zero habits. So as I said, the uncompromising part is the essence of it. This is the most important thing. Now, we also make it timely and small so that we can keep it uncompromising. If it's big and forever, it's much harder to make it uncompromising. But if it's small and for a certain period of time, we can do this. I have no doubt that all of you here can do a never zero commitment and complete it successfully. That if you make a decision today that I'm going to go never zero on this particular habit, that this is the minimum action, this is the amount of time, no exceptions. I am sure all of you can do it. You just need to tweak those two variables in a way that it's possible for you. Don't make them so small that the end result is irrelevant, but don't make it so big that it's challenging and you may end up not doing. Is it better to meditate morning or night and journal morning or night? Why? I would recommend meditating in the morning and journaling in the evening, at least for the type of journaling that I'm talking about in Mindful Self-Discipline, those 3 questions in the app and in the book. Better to do it in the evening. and meditation in the morning so that it impacts the way you live your day. My father was very disciplined. He would use not negotiable as his mantra. See if there are any other questions. Okay. So, which habits should we choose for the Never Zero commitment? Choose a habit that is going to move the needle for you. That is really important, that if you do this habit, it will make a difference. You may have a list of 7 different habits that you want to create, 10 different habits you want to create. And it's definitely possible for you to create all those habits, but not at the same time. When I work one-on-one with a coaching client, we're going to be creating 7, 10 habits at the same time. But that's a different structure. There's an intense accountability. They have made a big commitment of time and resources. So it's possible. But in general, I would say 2, maximum 3 Never Zero commitments. So pick the most important habits for your aspirations. And you can remember the concept of keystone habit that we mentioned in the book. That sometimes you have one habit that makes all the other habits easier. One habit, for example, of waking up in the morning without snoozing. That is the foundation of the morning routine. If you build that habit, if you say for 100 days I will not snooze, I will jump out of the bed the moment that my alarm rings, and I will start my morning routine. That's a wonderful habit. And that habit will make all the other habits in the morning easier. If you make a Never Zero commitment that I will stay offline until 10 a.m. every morning, that will make all the other habits easier. I will go to sleep on time, another keystone habit. I will meditate every day or exercise every day. These are keystone habits because they increase your willpower. They make it more likely that you can build other habits. They make it easier. So when choosing your Never Zero habits, look at your aspirations. What are the most important habits you need to build for your aspirations? And choose the one key habit for each. Is this making sense? Yes, okay. And then once you build one habit, other habits are much easier. If every day you wake up at 7 a.m. and meditate, if you want to do another habit, it can be the thing that you do after meditation. No gaps. You stack one habit on top of another. Some authors call this habit stacking. The idea is that you already have an anchor habit. You already have something that is happening reliably in your life every day, and you can connect other things to that. So that is about choosing the habit. Now let's cover the 3 elements of Never Zero. The first one is small. Well, it's not in order here, but I like to start talking about small. And here we use the concept of minimum action. Maybe you want to write or edit your manuscript or read, exercise, meditate, etc. for an hour every day. Or work on your side business for X amount of time every day. Then you have the minimal action. That if I can't do an hour, at least 10 minutes I can do every day no matter what. Even when I'm busy, even when I'm tired, even when I'm demotivated, I'm able to do 10 minutes of this. I don't expect that it will be an amazing session, but at least I have not broken my habit chain. At least I have not broken momentum. At least it's not 0. And that matters. So the habit that you choose will be a small habit. Now, A lot of this is about habits, about positive habits, habits of building a good habit. How would you apply this to breaking habit? If you want to break the habit of smoking, for example, what would be a small commitment? Well, in some cases, when we're talking about breaking habits, going cold turkey could be the way, right? And then the never zero actually means that no, nothing. Like I'm not going to have any of this. I'm never going to make an exception. I'm done. In that case, it's not a small commitment, it's a big one. But as I say, these two elements are here to aid in being uncompromising. And at times, you will let go of one of these elements. But it needs to be uncompromising. Otherwise, it makes no sense. The essence of it is lost. Timely. Have a start date. Like, it's something important. Making a never zero commitment, it's a big deal. So have a start date. Now make it a bit of a ceremony that from this date, from Monday, from my birthday, from tomorrow morning, I will start this commitment. And then you also have an end date. An end date. It goes for a certain amount of time. But you may say, Giovanni, this is something that I want forever. Fine. But forever is a very long time. And you don't start building that habit telling your brain that you're going to need to do this forever. Something in you may rebel at that instruction. So we are tricking our brain into that thing. We are first getting the momentum. And then when you finish your never zero sprint, be it 10 days, 3 weeks, 1 month, whatever it is, 100 days. When you finish that sprint, then you have 3 options. You can let go of that habit. I've just wanted to do that for a while. You can go from another sprint. Okay, let's do it for more 100 days. Or you can make it a permanent part of your life. At that point, you will be much better equipped to say that this is forever. Okay, now uncompromising. Uncompromising, as I said, means 100%. No excuses. It's almost a do or die type of determination. Now, this may feel exaggerated, but this is how inner strength, the strength of willpower, is created. That even when you're busy, even when you're tired, even when you're doubting if this is going to work or not, even when you have lost motivation, you still go and do your never zero habit. You complete your commitment, even if you're going to drop that thing, but you complete your commitment because it's about training yourself to finish what you start. It's about training yourself to be disciplined, to have willpower, to stay with something that you have decided to stay. And it doesn't matter if the day after never zero you stop that thing altogether, you finish it. You finish what you start. And it doesn't matter what's going on in your day. The determination is that I am not going to bed any day without doing these 5 minutes of this thing or 10 minutes of that thing. That is the meaning of never in never zero. It's really like never. Sometimes I'm talking with clients and eventually they realize what I mean by never when I say never zero. Like, it's really never. Yes, that's the meaning of never. Look at the dictionary. Never, no exceptions. It may be just like the remove your options. It may feel exaggerated. But we are trying to raise our energy levels, to consolidate our intention and our emotion on a particular goal. This leads to determination, and this leads to self-respect, self-confidence, self-love. And with this inner power, you can achieve anything. And you don't need to do anything with this also. Just being in this manner, there's a greater dignity about it. There's a greater presence, groundedness about it. And when you think about an ever zero commitment, it may feel scary. And that's a good thing. If it feels scary, it's because you're taking it seriously. This commitment is unapologetic. It's powerful. If it doesn't feel somewhat scary, maybe you're not taking it seriously. Or maybe your commitment is too small. There was a time in my life that I made the commitment to wake up at 2:30 every day for time indeterminate. The moment I made that, I was reluctant in making that commitment. Because I knew that if I make it, I would do it. And there's no doubt, can I do it? No, I know that if I make it, I would do it. But I don't know how much discomfort I'm signing up for. When you have trained your will to a certain extent, then you know, if I decide, it will happen. In the beginning of this journey of self-discipline, is I decide, nothing happens. Not even I follow. And then it's I decide and then I do it. And eventually becomes I decide and then it just happens. It has to happen. Because there's so much strength, there's so much energy behind that. It's very popular to talk about the law of attraction, that we can change our life with our thoughts if we just believe. And this idea comes from the spiritual traditions, very ancient spiritual traditions from the West and the East. They know this. They have taught this for centuries. And if you analyze the most popular self-help books in the last century, they have all touched upon this idea. As man thinketh, think and grow rich, The Secret, and there are many other examples. Multi-million copies bestsellers. And modified. The emphasis on willpower, on concentration that was there initially, was lost. And what comes to our hand and gets popularized everywhere is the law of attraction, that you decide what you want and you believe it and it's going to happen. Well, it's not this simple. Yes, every thought has power. But how much power? If the energy in your mind is divided across 10,000 thoughts, going into different directions, different thoughts every day, self-doubt in the middle, how much energy does each thought have? Very little. But if you can focus your mind on one thing consistently, and if there is a lot of energy behind it, will, intention, feeling, that is something else altogether. This thought can make something happen. So in the original teachings, I talk about four things that are important for this: concentration, willpower, faith, and feeling. They just talk about faith and feeling. Believe it and feel it, and that's enough. No, it's not. You need to energize that thought, that aspiration, that intention, by focusing your mind and by applying your willpower again and again. Can you repeat those four? Concentration, willpower, faith, and feeling. Instead of faith, you could say belief. Instead of feeling, you can say imagination, that you imagine it's already happening, it's already real. All right. I got a little bit off track, but this is related. We're talking about determination. One of the meditation masters I most resonate with, Swami Vivekananda. He is the reason why you are here. You might not know him. He's the reason why Insight Timer exists and why we're talking about meditation in the West and why there's this whole wave of mindfulness. Because he visited America, United States, 130 years ago, 1888, I believe. And people were very impressed in the Parliament of Religions in Chicago with his presentation of the yoga tradition, of Vedanta and Hinduism. People were extremely impressed at that time. The New Thought movement followers. And because of him, then news spread in India that there is interest of these things in the West. And then many teachers started coming. Yoga teachers, meditation masters, etc. And little by little, this led to where we are here, where meditation and yoga are so popular. So, Swami Vivekananda used to say, believe in yourself and the world will be at your feet. Now, you don't need to have any ambition of world domination or any trip of that sort to understand the power and the truth of this statement. He's not talking about regular self-confidence. He's talking about having absolute faith in yourself, in your power, absolute trust in yourself. This faith removes mountains. But how can you believe in yourself if you keep breaking the promises you make to yourself? That's where self-discipline comes in. Self-discipline is not only about achieving your goals. That's why the reason why we seek it. There's a saying in coaching that I say to some clients from time to time. The reason why you've come is not the reason why you're here. You've come because you want A, B, and C. You're here because there's something deeper that needs to happen. Self-discipline, mindful self-discipline, is about developing that type of inner strength. And yes, with this inner strength you can achieve many things. But this energy in itself is its own reward. So the invitation of the Never Zero commitment is to not let your personal fire die out through excuses, exceptions, mood fluctuations, etc. Let it be that at least in one area of your life, one habit, one decision, for a small period of time, your willpower is absolute and knows no exceptions. Burn brighter. You draw a line that you will not cross, and then you don't cross it, no matter what. This is integrity. This is willpower. This is mindful self-discipline. And Never Zero is about this. It's a reminder that you can do this and that you can start very small. You draw a small line that you are 90% sure you will not cross, and then you don't cross. Okay, great. Your willpower, your self-confidence already increases to some degree. Then you can draw a more ambitious line, a more difficult one. And with each obstacle that you overcome, your self-mastery, your inner strength grows. With every Never Zero commitment that you follow and complete, you become stronger. You become more reliable. You like yourself more. Thank you Georgina, for your donation. These classes are made possible by donation of appreciative listeners. So if you appreciate this, if this is making a difference for you, if you find it inspiring, informative, then consider leaving a donation to support my work. And other ways you can support my work is to get copies of the book for friends and family, anyone in your life who might need to hear this message. And also for those of you who are members of the Mindful Self-Discipline app, thank you for your ongoing support. Now let me have a look at the comments. This is basically what I had to cover today. I'll stay here for a few more minutes if you guys have any questions. Is there a thing of too much fire? If yes, and what can you do about it? Yes, we talk about this in chapter 3 of the book. You balance it with more water. That some areas of your life will be more water. That for your fire to be as bright as it can be, it needs to have the right environment. It needs to have the right support. Otherwise, you can burn out. The same thing with water. If there is just too much water, you would drown. It can become stale. So you need a balance, and this balance is different for every person. Is there a formula or is there no formula? When you're teaching it, there is a formula. There is a formula because there is a form. You cannot teach through non-form. People get confused and they put their own things in it and they end up with the form, just the wrong form. But when you have internalized it, then there is no form. Then there is just you expressing yourself, your will. I still struggle with willpower. Any ideas? Peace, make never zero commitments that you can keep, and with every never zero commitment, your willpower will increase. Vivekananda. What about, it's scrolling very quickly. What about epigenetics and quantum physics? Yeah, so some people try to explain these things that are not material through new discoveries of science. God bless them with success. I don't need those explanations. I know it works in my own life, but it helps people in this modern day and age, people who have a more scientific or materialistic point of view, to then open their mind about these possibilities. So yes, I'm familiar with those arguments. For me, it makes sense. But if things change from the scientific point of view about epigenetics and quantum physics, if they have new theories or new conclusions, and that it doesn't support this anymore, for me, it makes no difference. Dr. Joe Dispenza, yeah, he is one that talks about this. In general, I like his work. Can't say the same about his meditations, but I do like his work. Burn brighter. Can you speak more about what is willpower and how we practice it? Willpower is the power of our will. It's how much what we decide matters. There are different facets to willpower. Do we have the ability to regulate ourselves? That example I gave in the beginning of the class, that maybe your thoughts, your feelings, your impulses are telling you to go left, but you know that going right is the right thing to do as per your values and aspirations. Can you go right? That is willpower. Can you stay true to yourself, to your values, in the presence of competing stimuli? Can your values, your decision, your will be stronger than those stimuli? And that stimuli could be external, from the environment, pressure, or internal, your thoughts, beliefs, desires, etc. Jocelyn, I am so glad to hear that I'm not the only one. But I think his explanations are brilliant. I keep my commitments to others without fear, less those to myself. Yes. Where can we purchase the book? Amazon, Audible, Google Play, iBooks, Apple Books, everywhere. So, any other questions? You offered 2 alternate words for the 4. Okay, so instead of faith, you can think about it as belief, if that has a better connotation for you. And feeling is an expression of imagination. So, for example, if you would like to be more confident or courageous or patient, let's go with courageous, for example. You could create an affirmation that says, I am full of courage. But if you just repeat it mechanically without any feeling, the effect you're going to get from that, even if you have good focus, the effect you're going to have from it is small. Because you're not engaging an important piece. You're feeling. Now, saying I am full of courage with feeling, then you are filled with courage the moment that you say that, because you are evoking that feeling. Now, I say that an alternative word is imagination because I don't know if this, the way of explaining this is helpful for you as it is for me, but it's like you're imagining that feeling into existence. You're imagining that you are feeling courage in this moment. But it's not just a passive imagination. What would it be like to feel courage in this moment? No. It's an imagination that creates, it kindles that emotion in your body, in your psyche, in this moment. So that is feeling. Have donated to Giovanni via PayPal. Yes, that is an option. Thank you, Trish. I got that. So Peace says, I feel I'm struggling with willpower because there's so much stress, internal and external, along with depression. So yes, willpower takes energy, is an expression of fire. Depression is when we all are very low fire. If you don't get enough sleep, if you're constantly busy, then your energy is also going everywhere and you're not focusing and raising that energy. So there are also, so as you can see, there are many interventions there that will help with willpower. It's complex. It's not just one thing for everyone, exactly the same thing. If it was, I didn't need to write a thick book about it. I would just say one paragraph, that's all. So alongside with this journey of using baby steps and never zero commitments, you will need to find a way to overcome depression and to diminish stress. And meditation helps. Having a clear idea of your aspirations will help you feel more excited about life and help you get out of that depressive state. It needs to be a holistic approach. How do you explain the happiness and sadness in willpower? I feel that there's something there in your question, but I don't get it. Can you explain what do you mean the happiness and sadness in willpower? Wonderful. Enjoyed the read, Majesty. Okay, now some questions here on YouTube. Mr. Harris. Five phase, 5 elements theory. Well, you can say that I'm using metaphors from the 5 elements, yes. It's also that focus, determination, motivation are experienced as a sort of inner fire. Faith can be trust or relying upon a person or process without saying ourselves, belief, especially in something beyond scientific explanation. So that's what I'm saying. You can use one word or you can use the other depending on what makes most sense for you. For me, the word faith is stronger than belief. I can believe I'll make it, but if I have faith that it will happen, that feels stronger for me. But you see which words impact you more. You're going to read together with your friend. That's wonderful. I find your approach is very practical, one that we can put to use. Wonderful. Thank you, Peace, for the donation. Okay, so Joanne says, if you do the right thing, you are sad sometimes, and when you do things against your values, it gives you happiness. Doing things against our values will not, it depends on how you define happiness. When we follow our impulses for instant gratification, we experience pleasure, but not happiness. Maybe you can call it joy or pleasure, but not happiness, not fulfillment, not contentment. They're different things. It depends on how you determine happiness. In English, we just have this one word, happiness. We can call it joy, also pleasure, something else. But it's joy or happiness. In Sanskrit, they have 12 different words for happiness. That's how much nuance they see in that term. How much they have studied and experimented with it. When doing the right things, you sometimes feel sad. Perhaps are you doing the right things for the right reasons? Or are you doing the right things out of pressure? If the thing is aligned with your values, you will feel satisfied in doing it, even if it takes some sacrifice. I have faith that I overcome depression. That's it. Wonderful. Kendra, I wouldn't say that it's an illusion. From some point of view, you can say that is true from a transcendentalist point of view. But it's rarely helpful to say that. For some people, it may be helpful to think in that way if they have certain structures or beliefs, but that's often not the case. It's a state, and when you are in that state, it feels very real. Does it telling yourself that it's not real, does it help? If it helps, keep on doing it. If it doesn't help, then you need another tool. Okay, so that is what I had prepared for today. Now, I am launching, in 15 minutes from now, I'm launching a video on YouTube that I have made kind of summarizing the why of mindful self-discipline. You might want to watch it. It's something called the YouTube Premiere that is like, it's a regular video on YouTube, but the first time we launch it, it's kind of live, and I'm there commenting and interacting with people. So if you want to watch that, I'll be there in 13 minutes from now. So as we are closing this session, I would love to hear from you. What is the number one thing you are taking out from today? What is a key insight, shift, story, belief, technique that you want to make sure you remember and you put to use in your life? Please let me know in the comments. Yes, you can search under my name in YouTube, absolutely. Let me just make sure that that is how it works. Yeah, or can I put the direct link here? It should be fine. Here it is. The never zeros, willpower, imagination, space, 100% commitment with 0 exceptions, keeping never zero commitments as a way to build willpower, small never zero commitments. Oh, if you just go to links doesn't work here. So if you just go to my YouTube channel, just go to YouTube, search for my name, Giovanni Dunsman. It's here. You can see it here somewhere on the screen. Yes, and then you will go to my channel, and there you can see it's going live soon. Having a clear vision of my aspirations will help lift me out of depression. Never zero commitment. Yes. All right. So in the resources page, you will find a summary of everything that I talked about today. You will find those diagrams that I showed. You will find 2 wallpaper images with the words never zero very big, and you can use that as the lock screen image of your phone for a constant reminder. You will see also the wristbands written never zero. So we all need reminders. That's why I have created all these different things that you can use. And you'll find a link to get access to my app with all the guided meditations, and a link to the future sessions. Now, next week, so now we have finished the 3 pillars. There are all those chapters at the end of the book that are lifestyle things, time management things, etc. The next 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about time management. So tomorrow, same day, same time. Tomorrow, no, next week, same day, same time. I'm going to be here covering the first half of chapter 33 on mindful time management. I hope to see you all there. There were 124 people here today. Wonderful. Thank you for your presence. So hope to see you all next week. Until then, keep disciplined and take care.